Healthy Schools Act Conference. My name is Stacy Snelling, and along with my colleagues from American University, Aaron Watts and Sarah Irvine Belson, we'd like to welcome you to this event. Just a few housekeeping items. Hopefully you all have a folder, and in that folder is an agenda, and you can follow along with that agenda. There'll be other items we'll be using throughout the day, and they will be referenced as the speakers present. The restrooms are out to the door to my left, your right, depending on where you're sitting, and they're out there beyond those doors on the left-hand side. If you need anything, the team in the back, Lauren, Steph, Michelle, and Devin will all be here to help you if you need anything beyond that. So I have the opportunity just to open this. I'll say a few opening remarks, and then we'll have our guest speaker, Councilmember Mary Shea, kick this off. But first of all, welcome again. This is a really important event. We appreciate all of you finding time in your busy schedule to attend this event and listen to some of the data analysis that we've been doing here at American University, as well as to listen to outside speakers give their perspective on where we are and where we need to go with the Healthy Schools Act. The goal of the conference is to bring together a diverse and committed group of professionals who invest their daily time and expertise in the health and education of students in the DC public and public charter schools. Addressing obesity and advancing academic achievement are not opposing or competing agendas, but complementary agendas. As we move into the 21st century, childhood obesity was coined a national epidemic, and the federal government stepped in with the 2004 WIC Reauthorization Act to establish that schools be a place where children can experience and actively participate in healthy school environments. This charge needs to be seen as an opportunity to build healthy students who can achieve academic success. As Charles Bosch states, healthy students are better learners, and this is consistent with the data that we will be sharing with you today. Second, policy works in conjunction with programs. So we're awfully thankful that DC Council passed the Healthy Schools Act, but many of you are educators. And as we know, policy needs to be paired with education programs that motivate, engage, and educate students to take advantage of the environment that the Healthy School Act creates. And lastly, the wisdom of DC Council said that there needed to be an evaluation component. And the evaluation piece is the reporting of the school health profile on an annual basis to the Office of the State Superintendent of Education. This is the basis of the evaluation that we use to track the implementation progress and the impact of the Healthy Schools Act. Now, before we show a couple of our findings, we wanted to let you know who you are. There are close to 100 people registered for this event. 58% of you are new to this event, so we welcome you, and 42% of you have been here before, and we welcome you back. About 25% of the attendees are from an academic institution, and beyond American University, we have colleagues here from George Washington Catholic, and Howard University. 25% of you are from DCPS, DC Charter Schools, and Aussie. Another 25% of you are from what we would classify as providers. My colleagues from DC Central Kitchen, Alliance for a Healthier Generation, Playworks, and others who provide services, be it food, physical education, and activity with the schools. And the last grouping are miscellaneous, everyone from federal agencies like the Institute of Medicine, the American Heart Association, along with the USDA. In the next few slides, I just wanted to highlight, I'll only take a couple of minutes to highlight some of the findings. So hopefully you'll stay for the day and you will hear more of the longitudinal data as well as the composite score work that we have done in the past year. Some of the strengths of the Healthy School Act is the improvement in school nutrition foods. Our children are at least being offered and exposed to more fruits and vegetables, lower fat, lower sugar items, and increased exposure to whole grains. We have increased participation in the breakfast program. Our schools are using the OSCE standards for physical and health education. School gardens are on the rise. And this has been prompted perhaps by OSCE distributing close to 90 grants with over $800,000 distributed to the schools to increase the school gardens as well as what we call the PAY grants, which are physical activity and physical education grants. And lastly, we have seen, so that's part of the implementation. The impact is looking at the relationship of academic scores, math and language arts, and looking at that as compared to physical education time as well as a compliance score. So this next graph, it's a little busy and we'll work through this at the 11 o'clock hour, but what we're looking at here is an elementary school, their CAS math score, which is on the y-axis. Along the x-axis is the minutes of physical education. The black line shows you the regression line for 2013, indicating that as the minutes of physical education increase, we see an association with improving proficiency on CAS math scores for the 4th grade. This is only a sample, but it's not a cause and effect, it's simply an association, as is the next slide that shows an association with our compliance score. And we'll go into this right after lunch, but there are a number of provisions within the Healthy School Act. We have mapped those to the school health profile, and we have designed a composite score that says it's a maximum of 38 points, and schools then earn points for reporting what provisions are taking place in their school. And as this slide indicates, is the higher your compliance score as a school, the higher your CAS math scores are. Once again, an association that's showing impact of the Healthy School Act. Our team at American University has spent many hours in meetings, and we'd like to make the following recommendations right now as well as throughout the day. We have a school-level analysis which we'll be presenting to you. However, we recommend that DC Council and other leaders within the school system consider commissioning a study that would investigate student-level analysis. That would be to take a sample of schools and look at the students and their body mass index, their physical fitness levels, as well as their academic scores on select tests. This would give us information on what is happening at the student level. This would further provide some practice-based evidence of how schools are to reach the number of PE and health education minutes required by the Healthy Schools Act. And lastly, with all of this information giving us what we would call local data, this can be then communicated to principals, to the community, to parents and school leaders about how we can, as a city, engage across constituents and create healthy school environments for the students in DC. So with that, I have the pleasure of introducing Councilmember Mary Shea. First of all, for those of you who have not been here, she has been here for the past 3 years, and we really appreciate her time and dedicating her time not only to the leadership, but also to coming here and kicking this conference off. She's currently in her second term as council member from Ward 3. In 2010, Councilmember Shea and then Councilmember Vincent Gray introduced the Healthy School Act, which was unanimously passed by DC Council and signed into law by then Mayor Adrian Fenty. She is a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Douglas College. She has law degrees from Rutgers University and Harvard Law School. She is admitted into practice in DC, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, as well as before federal courts. I'd really like to have you give a warm welcome to Councilmember Mary Shea. Do you mind?
Leave that up there. Yeah. Fine. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Before we get started, I have many people to thank. I want to thank Professor Snelling. I want to thank Dean Belson. They're the two organizers of this conference, and they make this happen. But also President Kerwin for his general support of the American University for the Healthy Schools Act and studying the Healthy Schools Act. Kaiser Permanente gets special thanks, too. They have sponsored this conference, and they also have funded many of the initiatives throughout the district to improve health and wellness for our students. And they've been extremely generous over the years. Now, 4 years ago, as was mentioned, with the help of many of the people in this very room and with hundreds of others, doctors, nurses, policymakers, parents, teachers, advocates, it's just an extraordinary story of how this was able to come together, working with all of those individuals. And I want to say a special shout out to somebody on my staff who is an American University law graduate. Drew Newman, who's sitting at the back table there, was really the person who met with the task forces, brought it all together. And actually, I want to hear applause for Drew because he's fabulous. The purpose of the Healthy Schools Act is really simple. It's just to improve the nutrition, the health and wellness of the 75,000 students that attend either conventional DCPS schools or charter schools in the district. But the fact of the matter is the law is it's an omnibus piece of legislation. It has many moving parts, and there is some complexity. But just to highlight the main points, a main focus, of course, is nutrition. By adopting USDA standards at the gold level for school meals, that was itself one of the requirements, but it also makes breakfast for all students available. Everybody gets free breakfast, and in some of the lower income areas, they can eat that breakfast in school, in the classroom. One of the things that happened with respect to that item, initially there was pushback by the teachers union and other teachers were worried, what, eating breakfast in the classroom, what a mess, chaos, everything. But then after a couple of months of experience with that, they found out, oh my goodness, when the children have their breakfast, then they're ready to learn. They're calmed down. And many of the students, and the reason why we targeted this, are coming into school, at the very last moment, maybe even late. But we don't want them to miss breakfast. And it's had a big impact, at least according to the teachers now who are quite satisfied with how it's working. There's funding to pay for higher quality meals, and there's requirements about disclosure of ingredients, nutritional information about the meals. It encourages locally grown foods to be served and a farm-to-school connectedness. It also expands physical education and health programs by setting a goal of 60 minutes of physical activity per day and dramatically increasing PE and health education and requiring students to be assessed on their knowledge of health topics. It promotes recycling, composting, energy conservation, green building, and other sustainable programs in the school. And there was a mention about the school gardens. I have to tell you, it's not just connecting them and educating them and satisfying my big thing that I'm always talking about. Schools are the entire school, the grounds, everything, the building, it's all a classroom. But I've been out at schools where they have talked about, the children have talked about the experience of the school gardens, and it's actually just wonderful because many students have been estranged from the earth, and getting out there and getting their hands in the soil and actually growing something. I was at Janney Elementary School, where, by the way, they now have laying hens to add to their school gardens. And on a particular day, I was going to have lunch there. I'd drop in and have lunch at schools from time to time. On that day, as a side dish, there was mashed sweet potatoes. Those sweet potatoes were planted, grown, harvested, and made by the students in that school. Think about that, how wonderful that is that they could see the efforts that they put into it, and then they ate what they produced. It was just, I get a little overwhelmed by this because the students, they themselves are overwhelmed by this whole vista of opportunities that have opened up. The bill also provides for wellness programs and health profiles of students. The law encourages health-based centers at the schools, and it also created a Healthy Schools and Youth Commission charged with tracking the implementation of the bill and student health to find ways to further improve nutrition. And we are greatly advantaged by having AU, in collaboration with its partners, have these conferences to help us as well. Now, I've been pleased with the successes so far, but I do have some questions. Specifically, although the nutritional quality of the school meals has improved, as was already pointed out, we have to figure out, are they really eating the food? How much is being, in fact, thrown away? We have to get a handle on that. Is the Healthy Schools Act having a positive, measurable effect on the level of obesity in the district? Are students actually learning to eat healthier? In other words, we provide whatever it is we provide in school, but are they eating healthier at home? Is it something they can carry home? Are students becoming more physically active and getting more exercise every week? Is that, in fact, happening? Is the knowledge about what students know about health and nutrition actually increasing? We do have some evidence of that from the testing, and that seems rather positive. And additionally, although we've had a lot of progress with improving meals and implementing nutrition-related parts of the Healthy Schools Act, I do have concerns about how we are going about implementing the physical activity part of the Act. The Healthy Schools Act requires physical education programs to increase significantly to 150 minutes per week in elementary schools, 225 minutes per week in middle schools. Now, that's a large increase, so the bill called for a 5-year phase-in to give the schools an opportunity to figure it out. But we're now coming up on that, about 6 months away from the full phase-in, and actually, in my surveys and my understanding, there's been actually very little progress. Now, there's a lot of research showing that physical activity is a key way to fight obesity, and there's a lot of research saying that PE, at its worst, has no effect on standardized test scores, but at its best may actually improve them because students are more focused and healthier. So we shouldn't fear more PE, and I think we're going to see some evidence of that in the actual data. And I do remember, just as an aside, the former chancellor, who always said she was data-driven, and she was the first one I had to go through to get, these physical education standards adopted, because if she had opposed it, the then mayor at the time, Mayor Fenty, might have been a more difficult obstacle. So we talked, and she said, look, she didn't want to take any time. She had math and reading and, all the rest of that, and didn't really want to take any time for this. But she always had said that she was data-driven. So in a subsequent meeting, brought in all of our data, showing that, in fact, again, at worst, it's not going to bring scores down. But in the large majority of cases, if there's a correlation, it's a correlation in favor of bringing scores up. I also want to share with you, and then I'll end, because I know you have a lot to cover, some good news about how what we did with the Healthy Schools Act is now playing out in other areas. About a year ago, the council enacted a bill that I put in, the Healthy Parks Act. I'm going to make this carry through all over. It extends the nutritional requirements of the Healthy Schools Act to the Department of Parks and Recreation, which happens to serve over 1 million people every year. The council will be voting on a Workplace Wellness Act very soon. This act, among other things, would require that 1/2 of all the items in the vending machines in government buildings be healthy. And there are about 3,000 vending machines. Now, I'm not prescribing that people eat healthy, you know, when they're at work for the district, but they should have a choice. They should have a choice. They'd be able to go to the vending machine and choose something that's a healthy choice instead of something else. If they want the Fritos, good for them, but they ought to have a choice. And finally, the council will be voting on another bill of mine. You'll love this, the Healthy Tots Act. And it will improve nutrition and health at preschools and early childhood centers. What we know about learning, but we also know about physical condition. That is, the earlier we're able to reach students, the earlier we're able to establish good nutritional habits, the better off we'll be. Because if children come to school overweight or obese at the age of 5 or 6, we have an extraordinary difficult time, not impossible, but extraordinarily difficult. Pediatricians told me that it's very, very hard to turn that around. So we want to get to our young people earlier. So let me just thank all of you for your support of the Healthy Schools Act. Let me thank you for all of you who are working out there to implement it, and all of you who are working out there to study it and help us find out if what we're doing is actually having an effect. So thank you very much. Oh, don't want to do that. And who knows what I'll say when I'm over there.
So, thank you again. At this juncture, I'd like to recognize Kaiser Permanente of the Mid-Atlantic states. Laura Howard is here, as well as Allie Patty, who, if you can just stand and be recognized, like to recognize all the financial support and coming to the conference year after year. Thank you so much. So Allie Patty is going to be our next speaker and introduce a short video that we have put together to show how the Healthy School Act is what is happening at the schools, in the schools. But Allie joined Kaiser Permanente last year, and she oversees the Thriving School Initiative. Allie came to Kaiser after 10 years of public health experience at local, state, and federal levels with the focus on nutrition and physical activity. A resident of Virginia with her husband Brandon, her favorite physical activity is running, and we really welcome Allie to introduce our video. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm here in place of Celeste James. I think many of you may know Celeste James. She is our Director of Community Health Initiatives, and she has been very involved over the years with the Healthy Schools Act, and unfortunately, she has a sick child at home this morning, so this morning she asked me to step in and say a few words on her behalf. We're delighted to see you all here today, and really thank you for your interest and your continued engagement in the Healthy Schools Act and the evaluation of the Healthy Schools Act. We know that schools can't do it alone, and it's through the work of many of the partners that are in this room and the folks that are on the front lines working with students and working in the schools to implement the Healthy Schools Act that we are seeing a change in the culture around health and wellness for not only the students, but for staff, for teachers, and parents as well. Kaiser Permanente has been deeply committed to working in the school setting for a number of years. We have many programs, such as our educational theater program. We've been doing work to support school-based health centers, and as you heard recently, created our Thriving Schools effort that's really designed to kind of align a lot of that work. But a big part of what we've been doing right after the law went into action was working with American University to help support the assessment of this very important act and to really learn from it. Kaiser has a deep commitment to knowledge sharing and really sharing this information, and I can speak as someone who works across our region and connects with 7 other Kaiser Permanente regions in the country. Everyone is interested in this act, and everyone is interested in how it's being implemented, how it's being evaluated, and our partners in California, Colorado, Hawaii are very excited when we have an opportunity to share the great work that's happening happening here. I'm pleased to roll out for you this video that you're about to see. I just got to view it this morning, and it's a really, I think, exciting view from folks that are on the front lines. So you're going to get to hear from some of the parents that have experienced what the Healthy Schools Act has done in their school, from teachers, from principals, and staff kind of all across the board. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over, and we'll get to watch this video.
Great. Thanks, Sally. Thank you.
Schools can't do it all, but children spend an awful lot of time in school, and it's always been my view that when they are in our custody, so to speak, that we have a fiduciary relationship and that we are responsible for them. So we are responsible for them in reading and math and phys ed, but also we're responsible for them in terms of nutrition.
However significant and landmark a piece of legislation is, at the end of the day, its true test is the effect it has on people's lives.
I'm Samina Clark, and I'm a parent at Capitol Hill Montessori at Logan, a DC public school. One of the ways I first got involved with the Healthy Schools Act was when our school applied for several grants through that program, one for our gardens and one for physical activity and education. And it was really a huge game changer for us. Although we've been a kind of experimental program in the DC public schools for numerous years, we got our own building in 2011, which was fabulous, but it meant we moved into a building with no gym, very little green space for the kids to run around, a very tiny, outdated playground, and no gym equipment. Through the Healthy Schools Act and through our grants, we not only transformed our landscape and our campus with green spaces and gardens and a gardening program, but also our physical activity. We are heavily involved in the International Walk to School Day and International Bike to School Day here on Capitol Hill, spearheading efforts to bring snacks and speakers and motivational activities to Lincoln Park. Additionally, it's just kind of created a culture all around of kids and parents and staff and faculty being more excited about physical activity.
Hello, my name is S.A. Davis. I am the physical education teacher here at Capitol Hill Montessori. The Healthy Schools Act has allowed us to create many different programs here that you wouldn't normally have. I know I certainly didn't have when I was growing up. We have skiing, we have a cross-country team, we do archery, we do ice skating, all types of different non-traditional sports that I think the kids really enjoy. You have kids who want to do basketball, who want to do football, but also kids who like ice skating, who like skiing, who like sports that they aren't normally used to. So I think that's very beneficial.
So it's really created a different culture, I would say, in terms of kids, parents, and administration, faculty being, interested in, excited about, concerned about, and trying to improve the level of physical activity in their lives.
My name is Phil Thomas. We're here at Amos 1 Community Academy Public Charter School. The Healthy Schools Act help improve physical education by getting kids active for 40 minutes and getting the kids more involved and more equipment. Today we saw the dance curriculum with the touch of the limbo. We did the limbo today. We also did freeze dance. And we did the soul train line where kids could express themselves in physical education and through dance.
The Healthy Schools Act has affected life at Langdon in a tremendous way. We have a focus on nutrition education and increasing physical fitness for our students, for our staff, and our parents.
Everybody is just hands-on with the kids about eating vegetables here. Like the teacher's aide that come down here, even Miss Sheng that works in the office, she's trying to, implement, get your vegetables, get this, because sometimes the kids be like, I don't want vegetables, well, I don't eat that at home. Well, try it here. Because, we spruce the food up, like I said before, we spruce the food up. We try to make it exciting for the kids to eat the food. Like I say, if you sell dull food, they won't eat it, because kids eat with their eyes.
The month of February is Heart Healthy Month. Remember I told you guys that? So we're focusing on the on their heart. That's right. We're gonna cook this up and we're gonna taste this healthy grain, which is called couscous. Can we say couscous? And couscous is a nice, heart, healthy grain.
That's why we have the FFVP program here, fresh fruit and vegetables, so we try to get them on board with different types of vegetables, like vegetables they never heard of, like jicama, you know, stuff like that they never heard of. So we try to get them on board with different things, so when they go out in the world, they can, you know, say, I had that, I know what it is, I know how to do this, and that's what we're trying to do here at Langdon.
To increase physical fitness at Langdon, we have a full-time physical education and health teacher, but we also have a partnership with Playworks. And Playworks provides not only structured recess and social development skills, but it also helps our children to increase their fitness with fun and interactive games. We have a partnership with the Way Healthier America program. Through that program, our teachers were trained on nutrition education, and they embed that training into their classrooms by teaching students lessons on nutrition.
So as part of our Way program, we won a mini grant to have a healthy library. So included in this library is a nice section of library books that's geared towards health, nutrition, physical activity, healthy jobs, so that our preschool kids up to 8th grade students can all have literature to enhance their reading capabilities and to also learn new and exciting things dealing with health, physical fitness, and nutrition.
We also have several clubs, after-school clubs that involve fitness. Basketball for girls and boys. We have a track team, we have the volleyball team, we have a ski team, a hockey team, cheerleading, dance. And so we give children opportunities after school to engage in activities that will increase their physical fitness, their enjoyment and motivation to participate not only is here at school, but outside of school.
Both in teaching about nutrition, and the bill has also aspects about education and teaching about nutrition, but in the meals that we make available to them, it's our job to make sure that they're getting good nutrition.
Grateful to the DC Healthy Schools Act because before that there was so much focus on testing and academics, which of course is important, but we didn't have the mandate almost and kind of the push to really make sure that physical activity and education was a part of every single day for our students.
We have an opportunity on early childhood level, elementary level, and middle school level to engage our children in wonderful programming and activities to help them to make healthier choices.